What's going on, guilty guys and gals? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Adventures. I just had to show this because it's kind of cool. I guess the title screen becomes whichever room you were in last. That's pretty neat. I like that attention to detail. Now I can see Kazuma's shaped out outline whenever I turn the game on. Wonderful. What was I doing again? Was I going to talk to this guy again? Yeah, totally. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. I said that before. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape? Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping. Nyat! You'll stay on this cabin until next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. So we're going to Hong Kong. Ooh. Do. Okay, no, that's still good. I wonder if that's where Herlock boarded. Well, no. Well, I was thinking he might have got on there and then the ship sailed to Japan and now it's sailing back. I don't know if that's how old-timey ships worked. What was I doing? Am I just gonna move? Like, what's gonna happen here? I'm even more stuck inside this cabin than I was before. For the time being, I suppose I'll just have to focus my efforts on investigating in here. Okay, so there's still more. Okay, good. I've missed something somewhere. That means the knife? Nope. The table? The table. Okay. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yeah, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-san. Whoop. No. Okay. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you... Can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Well, nothing's happened yet, so I'm still missing something. I got the sword. I got the table and the food and the outline and the glass shard and the trunk. I got the message, which was also the ink. I got the diary and the desk. I can't check on the horn. I got the bookshelf. Alright. Okay, yeah, we have already read this. I just wanted to see if maybe things changed, but they are check marked off, so I didn't think they would. Okay, you can hold B to skip. Very nice. The chair, the lamp, the bed. Can I talk now? No. What do I have left to see? The door? Ah, the door. When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy. It just slides across the secure door. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there'd be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and a thread to draw a bolt from across... Sorry, a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There'd be no possibility of using that needle and thread and trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles up and down my spine. Ha ha ha. Oh, it's Hosonaga. I remembered his name since last time. Oh, over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Hosonaga, save me. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no. It's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. He's gonna cough and then we'll remember. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Is he just gonna be undercover at all of our crime scenes? That would be hilarious. Yes, what can I do for you? He looks so much younger wearing the sailor uniform than the butler uniform. I guess because he can't see the gray in his hair. That's probably why. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. You can't wipe the blood on the white shirt and have people not notice. Maybe on the butler outfit, but not this one. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. He's just like an undercover, fashionista. He loves dressing up in different costumes. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Dun, 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 dun. He's not going to tell us his secret mission, Naruto. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yeah, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Oh dear. It was the Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. But not in a good way. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night every day. But I never imagined it could happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. Oh, we're in first class, huh? Fancy. I've failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So, if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. Do you mind telling them that, like, I couldn't be the assassin? I mean, it's extremely unlikely. I guess I could be, but, you know. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. Oh, I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yeah? Yes. So, we need to be allowed out of this cabin. His poor crestfallen expression. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door... I'll get you. Nah. That stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. I'm very thorough. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you're in court. You must have done it many times during the trial. Simply select the Present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with evidence he needs to persuade the captain. You know what I just realized? And this is kind of crazy, because it's been multiple games in Ace Attorney since. I don't have the Magatama. I know I didn't have it in Apollo Justice or Dual Destinies either, but this is the first time I'm like, huh. I guess because it's a different style, you know? I'm not like, there's not another gimmick yet, is what I'm saying. Right, this is, does he say it looks like something's, yeah, dangling from the ventilator? What's that? Oh, I should have presented him with some other stuff first. Oh well. It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? Look at her reading stance. He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yeah, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. Prospector. Not quite. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? He's not my real captain. He's my step-captain. I'm an inspector, remember? And I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruto-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last.
Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Woohoo! I like Osunaga. I guess I can still present him some other stuff. I wonder what he'd have to say about this. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? No, I can't read. Oh, can't read Russian, fair enough. Oh no, that's alright. I know what it says. So you just wanted to point out your university-level linguistic talents, is that it? Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Sorry, forget I mentioned it. That's funny, okay. Surely he's got to have words about this. It's in Russian, how would he know that? Have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector?
Oh dear, are you alright, Inspector?
I'm sorry? Yeah, sorry, I'm fine. I'm hoping to hide my upset with a fit of coughing and spluttering. I'm usually very good at it. Hide my upset. But trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time.
It's all so sad.
Asogi-san was such a promising young man. The Empire had high hopes for him. Look at him twitching his head. See that? This is what I mean about, like, they seem to have kind of figured out the 3D models for this game. Like, this is something a sprite would do, right? Which they didn't really have in the other models. The most they do is, like, maybe bounce up and down a little bit. I had such high hopes for him, even though I'm just a detective. We're all going to miss you, Kazuma. He didn't have anything to say about the Russian. Ah, this is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe doors this morning, was it? That's right, to try to stop the cabin steward opening it up and discovering me. Wouldn't it have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian? Maybe, but Afuda paper amulets like this are a part of our culture, Inspector. And I thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to want to look inside. It isn't easy being a stowaway, is it? Inspector, can I show you this? What the? Is that the fabled Imperial Yume University pin badge? I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly, but... So, you're a genuine student then? Sorry? Okay, nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? I had a feeling that's what it would be, but, you know, you gotta be thorough with the badge presenting. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, look at that. I bet you that image is different for everything. What the hell is that? A bell? SS Burya. I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on a study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage.
Really? That must be awful. The other guy, Boris. I don't know. That's just the vibe I get from them. Very Boris-y vibe. Oh, but look at that. That's where the little tube connects to. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he is still sitting down. Sitting on a table, too. That's funny.
The door next to him leads to the second class accommodations. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose... like people in handcuffs?
Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
It must have been a very trying time for you.
Please, don't give me that pitying look. Yeah, I forgot about that. He was in the trunk. She's like,
I was holed up in steerage.
It's like, yeah, okay. Oh, it's a rat trap. That's cheese? Round, like, gold-looking cheese? Anyway.
Ah, a trap for catching mice.
Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be just using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yeah, I think that's what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. Oh no. There's an R right there too. There's gotta be a way to do it. Like Ratnade. Kanade chases that cheese. How do you like fit that into Ryusuke though? No, I can't do it. Anyway.
You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers.
Really? But, I suppose you're right.
Not only that, that's like cheese that might have been sitting out there for who knows how long.
I guess he doesn't know about it, though, so he doesn't know that it gets hard after being, like, in open air for, like, a couple hours. Anyway.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Oh, poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
Well, the one good thing about prison, at least they'd feed me. First class cabin number 1. Yeah, that's our cabin.
Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin.
You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home.
These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way.
500 and... how many cabins are there?
Just in case you wanted to come visit.
What do you think this is? It's got a very pleasing shape, doesn't it?
That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm.
It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
That's gonna be important. Oh, this I have to see.
What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it!
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
I wish everything would just stop. This ship included.
If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
That's funny. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Oh, this isn't going to take me in here, right? I forgot that this is where we're going. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever is in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No. Okay, I meant to say this. I meant to like point this out the other time. I thought it was just weird shadows in the cutscene. Why does he have like? Are they tan lines? Or did he, like, smack his face into, like, some bars? Like, why does he have, like, red marks across his face? That's probably going to be important. But, you know. Oh, excuse me. We, need to get inside this cabin here?
This sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out.
That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective.
It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass.
That's a problem. Boris, please stop it. This looks like a plan of the SS Burya. It shows each deck, look.
The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering!
Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Ballasts.
Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san.
It is?
Well, consider the Japanese archipelago.
The islands of Japan?
Yeah, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them.
Well, I suppose so. Not exactly it, but you know what? If it gets the point across, that's fine. There's a huge book on the table there, and a pen next to it.
Yes, that looks like the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it? Is Boris not going to stop us?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
Oh, so that's Hosanaga's job, huh? You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment.
I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably that means there was nothing to report. What? Was there something to report? Susato, please. Alright, let's talk to this man's. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You new little stowaway murderer. It's gonna be hard to do Russian and also a low voice, but I'll try.
That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead.
Puts on the smile.
Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
Maybe look up. Like looking at his chest. You little third-class ladies' maid. Oh no.
Oh.
We seem to have caught the sailor in a bad day, Susato-san. I'm not sailor. My mother gave me a name. Is it Boris? I'm senior crewman Biff Stroganoff.
Biff. Biff.
Phew. The best thing is to just avoid eye contact, I think. Oh, so that's what Susato was doing. Yeah, totally. Mr. Biff. Mr. Stroganoff, about the first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Burya steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Not you. Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you.
If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Da! You and I know that one. Susato-san, did you understand that?
It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no?
Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin, at least. Yes, it's tantalizing.
Oh. Okay.
Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
Why, so you can murder them next? No, I don't think so. His name is Mr. Grimesby Raylott, a very important Western gentleman.
A Western gentleman?
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Raylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Island.
That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there was anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Isn't that right?
That is not your business.
Okay. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? God damn it.
Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
What?
Sasada-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises? Or sense anything wrong in some way?
I'm going to look this direction and not look you in the eye. You might see I am lying. I said no!
Sorry. He's kind of scary. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there.
Yes, your eye is very scary. I do not like eye contact for prolonged period of time. That's why I'm very appreciative that young lady did not look me in the eye. That is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh.
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
Yeah, alright.
Bulkhead to second-class area staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or, as English say, when the pigs fly.
Yeah, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Nice. Okay, his chair doesn't have anything on it. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, but just for a moment, things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. I don't think he needs a gun. He could just punch me. Oh dear. I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. That book on the top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it, too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it?
Yes, let's look through it. The writing's so neat and precise. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor, blah blah blah. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report.
Okay, well, that didn't have a check mark, but it was the exact same thing. Whatever. Ring the alarm bell. Okay, no. Let's go in. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask.
No answer. Word of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries.
How annoying. Oh.
Ah!
What was that? It came from inside that cabin.
Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman.
Stand aside. Oh, stand aside. I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes!
I shan't be stopped. When fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Yes, a door. His leg starts twitching.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
No, it doesn't. Then how the deuce can I dispatch of this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. I love that I can say something stupid and the Herlock will be like, that was exactly what I was thinking. Oh. Now I know from the trailer, but I probably would have figured it out anyway. Because, like, kind of obvious, right?
Who are you?
A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me.
Russia is
Technically Western. Western Japan, I guess. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin.
True. The old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? And knocked over all those books.
Get out! All of you! Now!
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Rylot, I believe.
Yes, that's me. And you are?
I'm the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt?
No.
I guess she's Russian too, but I'm a great detective among popular detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. Oh, so I assure you. You may trust me completely. Smile. The man uses the magazine like a business card.
A detective? I do not trust detectives.
We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, I might be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? A tiny woman. Okay.
Bah, don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it is quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Not even like, don't look at me like that, just like, don't look at me.
Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the case just shook. There's a snake in there.
Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward.
So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Rylot. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
What are you doing? I'm trying to think of a me when I... Me when I play hide and seek. There we go. That one's not too bad. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service.
Oh!
And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. My time has come! Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on this time, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Rylot, is clearly trying to hide something. There's a newspaper in his pocket. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when a secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes! Please!
She's so excited. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Great. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you?
What?
From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of the Russianness, or the Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right. And Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, "It is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment."
Shh! I must have complete silence. Shh! Don't speak facts at me, woman. I must uncover the truth.
What are you doing? Why are you peering into my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions.
What? What do you mean?
Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Ah. Oh, Naruto-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes.
That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
Just like, uh-oh. What? What ineffable twaddle. What?
Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
It's so hard to not do that.
And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand.
Oh,
This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks as like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right.
How? How could you?
How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So, I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Here we go. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place.
Where did that spotlight come from?
Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article. Which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Look, you can even tell it's not even right. His nose is pointed. He's got like defined cheekbones. His face is much longer. Anyway, in translation, the headline reads: "Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article poses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Revolutionary on the run. This is so fun. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you say. Ah! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that travelling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein.
Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would the identity of this young lady in the travelling case be? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coupe d'oeil... This is one of the French words I always struggled with. That's too many vowels, man. Doile. Doile? Duel? Duel is probably closer. Your careless coupe d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to the answer. Also, it's coup, not coupe. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your travelling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. And if we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us but to one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. When he lays it out like that, it seems plausible, but of course not. Thus concedes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of the Russian enigma, Elementensky. Elementsky. There we go. Got it. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
What? I thought it was sufficiently flashy. Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing alike. Ah, yes. I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do.
That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you push really hard.
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I?
Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain aliveness through their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself in the confines of that small case.
Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes.
Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus. You are not the clown, but the entire circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions right now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mrs. Sato.
Rude. It's just 1 or 2 key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if maybe we could perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some key words in his deductions?
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought I was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Did he undo my handcuffs while we were talking?
Where are your handcuffs?
Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it.
Mr. Sholmes, you're a marvel.
I've been handcuffed many a times, dear. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. Oh, I thought they were quite fashionable. Well then, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Here we go. Course correction, nice. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. So the dubious looking Russian Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place, is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard?
I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though.
It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either.
Which means, I suppose, the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here.
Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters.
Alright, but how?
I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott.
I wonder if it's really his beard he intended to use those shears on.
Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deductions better...
Then what?
Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san.
Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Bum 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 bum. So yeah, that was the part in the trailer. I'm glad it came up sooner than later. What's this?
It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks.
No. The color isn't the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair?
Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising.
Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Alright, we can yes it. Golden locks. Nice. Look at him. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed. You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair... one varies still much in her youth.
Oh, no. If only I'd managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected.
Every time the spotlight flashes, she's just like, ah. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of such magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts of Mr. Sholmes.
I love the fact that they're actually dancing. It's just funny. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Now strictly
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
No, that's true. Given that Mr. Roylott's actually a woman...
Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
I suppose it's because of the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now.
Yes.
Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. It's the other side of the newspaper.
Yes!
It's the article about the ballerina. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we're finally able to address you by your true name. Yeah, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Oh no! Is she alive? Oh, thank goodness she's wearing that ridiculous hat. It's not even, like, proper for, like, Russian stuff. I can't believe it.
You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone.
A ballerina on the run. Obviously something bad was happening at the opera house, because she ran away with a bunch of money to start a new life, so. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime? Over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. Wait, I just had a thought. Okay, so if she isn't like the murderer, which makes sense, but you know, because I don't think she's going to end up being. It's way too early to have her revealed, right? Then the snake didn't come through that ventilation. It came through the little bell hole at the entrance to the hall. And is it potentially because they wanted to kill her to get the money? Instead of actually killing Cosima for whatever his secret mission was, and they accidentally ended up helping whichever government wanted him dead. That's kind of... This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes, so clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well.
No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all.
In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again.
You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes?
I don't dance around with him, okay? Strictly professional. Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Oh, I can move it. Oh, this is sitting right there.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara.
Ah!
It's very hard to do like a Russian ah! How do I do that? Anyway, I believe the tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft.
Oh no!
Yes, yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you.
Ah!
She almost like fell over.
I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me.
This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely.
All right, I will tell you everything. There is no point in trying to hide it now.
Come, come, let us not be hasty.
What?
There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the books of this shelf. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now.
I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you?
Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all of this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true. But still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn.
I agree. That's the only answer.
Whatever she's hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze to the direction of the bookcase.
Yes!
She's got a weapon! Wow, more like a pet. It's kind of both. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from the carriage of this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case... Now they're together. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage a pet?
Ah!
She reacts to everything like she's been shot. That's what it is. She's like flailing backwards. I feel bad for her, because obviously something bad has happened to her to make her run away from her job at 15. I'm sure we will find out. She gives me big, what's her name? Misham. Vera Misham vibes. Of, like, done some bad stuff, but, like, not voluntarily, you know? So, clearly, you aren't who you said you were.
No, I'm not Grimesby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Burya's a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you, about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? The veritable tinkling of a bell. Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself? So no one would recognize me.
Yeah.
As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fast as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. She looks so surprised.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You are right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew.
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night.
Yes, all right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something Mr. Shone's great deduction?
It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed. It is incredible. And one more thing. Yeah? What? Observe your wrists. No. How did...
Your hands are cuffed again.
What? But how? True to my word, I've restored your shackles. When? And why? It was right after we did that deep bow in our dance.
There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, but it can't be helped at the moment.
Can't it? Really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was.
But we will be doing it next time. That went a little longer than I was expecting, but I couldn't just stop in front, like in the middle of Herlock's dance of deduction, could I? No, never. I'm glad the ballerina wasn't the killer. I'm glad that they didn't show off anything too crazy in the trailer. But dang, that opens up a lot of questions. And I like that. Do remember, let me do my own dance of deduction. You must have enjoyed this video by the way you stayed all the way to the end. So, in recompense, I believe you will like the video by clicking the small button below. It will do the most to help me out, other than perhaps clicking another button, subscribe. It's quite a shiny red one. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Other than that, I don't know if there's much else you can do. Perhaps you could comment and leave me a question, something like, why is your Russian accent so bad and embarrassing? Or, you know, why did you call that man Boris? The answers to those you may never get, but at least you will have asked, and that is the nature of inquiry. Alright, well, have a good night or day or whenever, everyone, and I'm sure I will see you soon. Alright, goodbye.